And we are joined now by Mike Sautter of Hurrdat Sports and NEBPreps.
So I will not see you at Nebraska-Michigan wrestling tonight?
No, I have to be at my game of the week for high school basketball. The one high school basketball game I'll be at will be Norris at Bennington tonight is the game of the week this week. So
okay.
Do
you feel like my West Side Warriors have a danger game against the team that I've been talking about for 2 weeks and the Papillion Monarchs?
A little bit. Not.
I kind of do too. If West Side isn't dialed, they're all over the goddamn place.
Like they were,
they're starting to really drive me crazy.
Last Friday was a little bit eye-opening. Just looking at that score, I was like, "Whoa!"
Did you like my live texting? It's not as good as like Jacob or anybody, but yeah. I knew you were busy working, doing your own thing, because all you kept saying was, "Whoa, whoa, 26-3, second quarter, whoa."
I think they call that a slow start.
Yeah.
I think coaches will say that was a slow start. I was at Westview and prep last Friday night, which
was pretty exciting. Do you like the fact that Westview could win a nail biter?
Yeah.
That's new for them, right? When you're learning how to win, you got to win games like that.
Yeah, for a team that hasn't been there before, frankly, in big game moments like that, for them to get that done is, and they did it twice so far. I mean, they did it Tuesday night. They won a close one against Papio South, and now Westview, if they can finish off the week here, they'll likely be the number one team in our coaches poll on Sunday night. They're pretty good, and Taven Zephyr Murphy is probably playing like the player of the year right now. And I say this all the time, but I've said it a few times, but Amir Martin coming back, I guess, and playing under control has been huge for them. He had a huge game Tuesday night, and it's not just those two guys. I mean, like, even the little John Sims is playing he's playing really good. So
that little John Sims. That dude is, I love that he's great.
No, he's tough. Like and when I say that, I mean he's small stature guy, but he's actually like he's tough, and he produces stuff, and he's not scared of anything. Trey Griggs hit a huge three for them. A corner three that basically
nobody in that family has never been afraid to meet the moment. I mean, I think that's just a Griggs thing.
Yeah, it is. They're not scared of anything.
Yeah, I think that's just a Griggs thing.
I think it comes from their mom, to be honest.
Oh, I'm telling Pops. He's on the staff. I'm telling.
That's fine. You can. I think they pay attention to what I say here, because my guy Tarp had some words for me when I said that they hadn't played anybody before December, before Metro Tournament, and
Tarpley's in the city. He hears the same things that I hear. Like, they don't have to defend themselves anymore, I don't think. Like, now they just got to dial in and go play ball.
Yeah,
Tarp hears though. I mean, he knows.
He may or may not have gave me a headlock after I said that the next time I saw him. So.
You know the thing about Tarp that people sleep on, he's a tremendous boxer too. Very, very, very good boxer. So I'm going to suggest to you giving up about 221 pounds. Keep it moving.
That guy is he's when I choose to have him be when I choose to go to a barber to get my beard lined up, he's the guy that has a straight razor on my neck.
Yeah.
So
him alone.
I don't know if I want to do that. And also, Tarp's a great guy. He's a friend of mine, but he's funny. Like, he is funny.
So who's two for you?
Probably Papio South right now. Like him or Westside or prep or I don't know.
Okay, let me ask it this way: who do you trust playing the long game?
This feels like someone said this to me last week. I forget who it was. So I'm gonna steal what they said, but it was in conversation. This feels like a prep wins a state championship year. Just because like they're always kind of old. And then the guys that aren't are
they're in every game somehow.
yeah, and the guys that are, have played JV forever, Cooper Knight's one, like, and now they're kind of seniors, they wait their turn, they've been around it, they've been in the program. Like it feels like when there's not the clear-cut favorite, this is the year that prep like gets over the top and wins it. So I don't know, like they're scary. If you said right now, like who's winning the Class A boys state basketball title, you would get probably 10 different answers.
I would say 4 or 5. I'd say 4 or 5 different answers.
The district seeding is going to be majorly important this year because like home games for district finals and things like that. Like no one wants to go to Kearney for a district final, right? Like that's really hard.
I would say
or you have at prep. Now, hey, look at Lincoln Southeast. They're not scared of going to prep.
Yeah, but I don't know who they are though. And they would still have to be Lincoln Northeast. You know what I mean?
Right. No, what I'm saying is like at prep for a district final is they've lost the last 2 of those to Lincoln Southeast. So it's not that hard, but I think it just is going to depend on the matchups so much. And you could have a couple of 2 seeds or maybe even a 3 sneak in and make it. It's such a wild ride right now because it's starting to separate a little bit, but you still just don't know. Like Northeast is pretty good because Lazarick Houston is really good.
Yeah.
And
player of the year candidate.
Yeah, he just goes and gets buckets and they let him just go. And like they're scary too. And North Star just went to Kearney and won Wednesday night. So that's another kind of team in the mix there. LV West, the way they can shoot it and they're so well coached, I think is a team that's scary. West Side has the look of it, but it's got to come together. There's got to be some maturity there from some of their guys. So,
Have we given up on my Mustangs, Mike?
No, they have the talent. I mean, they do. They've got to kind of find a way. It's one of those weird things that like all, from June until December, we were like, oh, Millard North, yep, clearly the best team right now, before the season. And then they lost a couple games and then you kind of forget about them. But they have a very good chance to kind of make a run and go on a heater here. Millard South's in that conversation too, because they're pretty healthy-ish. Isaac Jensen's back now. That adds another piece. He's coming out. He came off the bench on Monday afternoon in their win.
They also have a little bit of an eraser in Prince too, where he can guard your best player, and it's probably going to be a headache.
He can guard 1 through 5 very easily, and it's one of those like, do you like him coming off the bench doing that more, or should he be starting or not, or what? I mean, there's a bunch of different lineup combinations Millard South can have that kind of scare you, and especially if like a guy like Bernie Anderson's knocking down shots, then it opens things up, and they're pretty scary as well. But back to Millard North. I mean, Derek's got to just be the dude, like, and they gotta find that in him for him to just go out and be the guy, and he's kind of done that at times in his high school career, and it's one of those times where like, all right, man, now's the time to just go be the man. and they got to just force feed him a little bit, I think, to open up the other guys like a Major Mosser and Corian Gatlin that can shoot the ball.
We're talking with Mike Sautter, Hurrdat Sports, NEBPreps. Mike, I wanted to ask you about a tweet you sent out yesterday because, I like representing the guys from Omaha that are playing at a high level at the college level. So you sent out this tweet. How many NCAA tournament wins could this team have? And you listed basically all the guys playing Division I basketball from, the state of Nebraska currently. So I got to ask
I was happy to see you include Josh Dix. Because we forget about him.
For the purposes of this conversation only, I will make him an honorary member of the state of Nebraska. But he's our basketball Thomas Fedoni, right? We're going to loop him in just for this one, and then they can have Council Bluffs back in Iowa. But so who are your starters on that group? That's what because I was having this conversation with a mutual friend. I think you all know Jermaine. We were having this conversation about like, okay, who would you start? What's your rotation look like? So I'm curious, where would you start?
Well, okay, Josh Dix.
You did forget one though. You did forget one.
Who?
Jaden Dawson.
Oh yeah, I did. Dang it.
Who's playing his ass off?
Yeah.
After you talk about overcoming obstacles.
Yes.
Dude.
Injury, all that stuff.
Whole deal. Like Jaden Dawson belongs on that list.
I also forgot Bashir, who's lighting it up for Monmouth right now too.
I was trying to explain his evolution to Ravi a couple of 3 weeks ago, and it's like Caleb said when he was yelling at Micah a few weeks ago at the dinner table. They, about the better sibling, and Micah was quick to drop. He wasn't even the better twin, so I would keep your mouth shut, Rob. When talking about the Bashir twins. Isn't that funny? Just a testament to staying with it.
Yes. I will say in that tweet that I dropped, I did say this is off the top of my head and I might be forgetting some people.
Yeah, you might have missed a couple. I know.
Yeah.
You show some grace.
I needed. And back to Josh Dix, though. Like, he played AAU basketball for OSA and Omaha teams like his whole life. So, yes, we absolutely claim Josh Dix. I do.
I also like Jason Isaacson, so I'm going to give him a pass.
Yeah. That team. Well, Chucky's the point.
It was good to Zoe too when she was teeny, so I'm all in on Dix.
You want to talk about overcoming Josh Dix?
With the gruesome injury right down the road.
Ooh, like that could have been a career ender thing. I mean, it just the fact that he's doing what he's doing is amazing. This is where I would go. Top of my head, not looking back at the tweet right now. Chucky, point guard, Hunter, 2.
The 3 is interesting, I think.
Yeah. Like, do you put
you got Selly if he's healthy. You've got I don't know if you want to play.
I wonder if Tanji could play with Hunter, but
so Tanji's where I went. I went Tanji as my 3, but you could
he would need Hunter to give him the rock.
Theoretically, that's an issue.
Tanji's
with
a bucket getter.
Everybody on this team.
Frelly's like the shooter, like guy, so maybe he's the 2.
You probably have to play Frankie at a 4, right?
What do you do with Saint?
Do you play Frankie over Jason Green or?
Well, that's the question, right? You got Jason Green. Do you like Saint as a 3 or a 4?
Right.
I kind of want to go small ball 5 with Isaac Trout.
Over Kyle?
Maybe like as an option.
Oh, that's tough.
Listen,
it's a good little problem. Depends on how you want to play.
Yeah, like stylistically, right? If I want more of a Creighton style offense, maybe I go Isaac Trout at 5 over William Kyle.
Because quietly who's a really good defender?
Who?
Saint is very capable of being a good defensive player.
Listen, I've been on Saint since he was like a sophomore at Millard North. So
you talk about another guy overcoming,
a ton. Yep.
Yeah. It was great to see him the other night, to be honest. Like,
how about him just smiling and having fun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the crowd that was there to see him after?
Yeah.
The line of people. That was incredible.
All in on Saint.
Yeah, with his family sitting in the 300 section. That was wild, by the way. That was a USC thing, not a Nebraska thing, just for people. The USC donors, I guess, decided that the trip to Lincoln was like the away game that they wanted to go to. So they got the behind bench seats, which then forced like Saints mom to be at the 300 level.
Do better, USC donors.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do?
So you got Chucky, you got Hunter. Who's your landing on 3?
Oh man, probably Saint because I like the versatility there.
Okay. Who's my 4? Isaac Trout, Frankie Fiddler.
Frankie gives you a little bit more, like, again, versatility. I like guys that can kind of switch and do different things.
All right. And
the 5 is probably William Kyle.
Okay.
Just because you need a rim protector guy.
Yeah.
And then I threw Benga Doc in there because of the length. You need some length on that team.
Well, you should have heard Tweedledee and Tweedledum arguing about that dude the other day at the dinner table. I had to tell Caleb Zip it. I was like, I remember that dude came off the bench to give you guys buckets out of nowhere, so I wouldn't say anything.
Right. That guy's evolution from
incredible
from after his junior year of high school to even like the middle of his senior year of high school to now is remarkable.
Hey, Sautter, do you remember this? So when Papio South was playing Bellevue West, Coach Lewis was in the stands, and we were down at the media table during state, and Luke Ward basically dunked on the free world, and Coach Lewis was there watching Chucky and a couple of the other guys, and he came down. He said, I think that guy's pretty good. He put his head in between us when he came down to the media table. I was like, I mean, he put on a show for a stretch his last year, so it's good to see you include Warren in that list too. Because I didn't forget about him.
He's at Grand Canyon now, and second year there, played well, playing well, doing well.
Remember that dunk?
Yes, like, and that was was probably the time. Remember, like after his high school season, he just blew up. Because he was this 6'9" dude that was super athletic and available.
Everybody needed a big. Yeah. And because if I'm not mistaken, there was questions about whether or not he'd be eligible. And so people kind of backed off. And then it became clear he was going to be eligible. And everybody flooded in like gangbusters trying to get a big at the 11th hour.
How about how we kind of gave Lewis, I think the media kind of gave him a little pushback when he clearly said, he was watching Chucky as a junior, and he's like, he's the best player on the floor. And everybody was like, yeah, well, you know, he can't. and Lewis was like, man, I'm telling you guys, I like those tweets. Or those texts, and he came down to reiterate, just look how he controls the game. You guys can have everybody else.
On both ends.
I'm like, look, man, I'm not fighting you over that guy. Like, I love him.
But Chucky does it on both ends of the floor, which is pretty awesome to see. So
I do want to give you a sec because we follow him close, the two of us in the media, and it's not because we have any cares or concern for the guy that does their play-by-play, even though we do. But we both like Omaha. Mm-hmm. How cool is it to see Crutch and that staff kind of reinvent themselves, stay the course? They got Big Boy Summit length, man. These guys are pretty good.
They are pretty good. They're really fun to watch. Last night was the, I don't know, 4th, 5th game that I've seen them play. I mean, I saw them play Mount Marty, right? Which they won by 40. So they're fun. And Markel Sutton.
Oh, the Marty you love is Levinson, so that's good for you to
yeah. Omaha's fun to watch, and the changes they made to the roster, the additions they made to the roster this year, Lance Waddles as kind of the point guard, backup point guard. He started at the beginning of the year, and then they liked him coming off the bench more. And JJ White has been great for them so far. Markel Sutton has stepped into that. Someone needed to step into that, like Frankie Fiddler on the guy role, and Markel Sutton's done that. Last night in the second half, he was
incredible.
Awesome. Incredible. Like they just went right to him. First half, he had some foul trouble. He scored.
He's long, isn't he?
Yeah, he had 19 of his game high 24 in the second half. That's pretty good. And then the guy that kind of does it makes it work for them is Cam Thomas. So Cam Thomas, the junior college All-American, he was at Hutchinson Community College. He lets them do a lot of different things. One, he's long and athletic, but you have him. If you do this, there's times where they'll have Cam Thomas, Markel Sutton, and Jayshon Glover, who's really athletic, on the floor at the same time. You can switch everything.
I like the fact you're giving the defense some love because that's what they've been doing. They did it to Kansas City. They did it last night. When they want to sit down and guard, they're a nightmare.
So, Sautter, let me ask you this real quick because, for people that, like me, who haven't followed them as closely as you and DB have, tell me, in a minute, tell me what happened, right? Because earlier in the year, they're losing to Southern Utah and Alabama State and Abilene Christian and Montana State. And all of a sudden, and those are teams that are in the same neighborhood or worse than a lot of their opponents here in the Summit League. What happened that they got it to click all of a sudden?
That's a good question.
They're a matchup problem for the league because the league is traditionally just shooters and super fundamental playoff 2 feet, kind of not slow, but
it's a very skill-based.
Yeah, skill-based league. It's a very skill-based league.
Yeah.
And this team is built to get up in you, guard you. They have length and athleticism. They're built way different than basically anyone else in the league. That I think has been.
They're not going to go out and shoot 38% from 3, but you're not either.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those where I think that really works. And they have a star, and then they have guys like Tony Osborne that's been in the program forever that can knock down a big 3 if you need him to and plays really hard. Their posts aren't, going to give them, Josh Street and Akawandu. I can't ever say his name. But they're gonna defend you, and they're long enough and they play hard enough. They're not going to give you 15 points, but they're going to defend that post really, really well. They did a really nice job against Oscar Clough. That if Markel Sutton isn't the player of the year in the league, then Oscar Clough at South Dakota State is, because he's averaging 35 rebounds a game or something crazy. So, I mean, I think that's why is the league isn't as athletic as they are. And
not
I
built
think
to deal with a team like this.
Yeah, they're just not built to deal with it. I will tell you though, St. Thomas, that team is extremely well coached, and they have guys that are not going to get off the bus. And you're like, what? That guy? You watch him.
We watched one give him fits. So
yeah,
I mean, he looks like he should be playing tight end. Your boy, who went to work for SC? He was filling in from the injury earlier in the year to what's his buckets, and he bowled.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
Sautter, we appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the weekend of games, and we'll talk to you later.
Good stuff, Jerome. Man, you were on point today, man.
Aaron Glenn, baby. Aaron Glenn.
We'll have to ask you about that next week. That's my daughter, Hurrdat Sports NEBPreps.